Looks like we are good to go. So hello everybody and welcome back to Apex Online Racing AOR PS4 F8 tier for round number 5. We're here in Catalonia in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix, of course. Always be back in the commentary box as always. So last time out we had Wild Ditto taking the victory in Russia. Pretty much a dominant performance by him. And it was an excellent Grand Prix throughout, but we're here in Spain for round number 5, and it's going to be an interesting one. Washi, I think, still leading the points by a smaller margin now, while Ditto catching up after all of that, after his win, of course, in Russia. There he is in the Williams, and he is on a high after that win last weekend. So Washi managed to get a podium once again, and seems to like the podium this season. He wasn't able to get one in the past couple of seasons, but now he's racking them up like they're nobody's business. So anyways, let's see who we got here today. We have, of course, Noodle coming out in the McLaren. Jason is still in the pit lane. We have Ben out in the Ferrari, who managed to stop his record of crashing on the start line, which is fantastic. Seika back once again in the Haas, was having a good run these past couple of races, couple of good points finishes for the Haas team. Nezran, who started on the front row last time out in Russia, who managed to actually take the lead and lead multiple laps. About half of the laps I think he actually led before he was eaten up by Wild Ditto in the Williams, but he did an extremely good job to finish second that day. So we're looking to repeat that. IEJ had a good run last time out, he's in the Force India. Boniface had a much better run in Russia than he has had in the previous couple of rounds. He's running around in the McLaren and he's looking to keep up the form that he showed in Russia. Caddy Damus didn't have the best of times in Russia, was a non-points finish for him, started down the back and is now trying to recover after that. Wild Ditto, your winner last time out, back again in the Williams, looking to repeat his form in Russia and see if he can keep his record of 100% of the poles this season. He has taken 100% of those. Washi, of course, points leader, championship leader at this point in time, looking to extend his championship lead. ZEQ in the Renault does not have a teammate. FIFA Fans, of course, is not here. He'll be running alone today. Denzamo, Washi's teammate, P4 last time out for him, so it was a good job from him. I think it was P3 or P4, it was one of those anyway. And Foxy's in the other Sauber in there as well, he's P5. So we just have a slow car going through the IEJ on an out lap. So everybody's on a timed lap right now. So let's see if we can get someone who's just coming across the line, perhaps, to get a lap around this circuit. Nezran pops quickest, and we should be seeing some faster laps than that. But of course, what do I know? So I'm on board with Jason in the Red Bull as he comes through Sector 1. This is, of course, Circuit de Catalunya, a very, very famous circuit. Let's get your times up on the screen for you to currently have a look at. There we are. Currently going through Sector 2. Foxy's goes quickest, 120.1. You're riding on board with Jason as he makes his way through Sector 2 of this circuit, heading to the off-camber S's. Gets half of the car in there. Very nicely done indeed. Before you can almost take this corner flat, while the other goes quickest, 119.4. You can almost take that flat. He's a little bit cautious right now before he can really go for it. Gets on the brakes. DRS zone down that straight for the low speed section. And we've had a spinner there. That is Caddy, who's managed to spin the car. And here we come to the new part of the circuit, we call it. The old part used to run down to the left hand side there, but they added this chicane. I don't particularly like it, but there you go. Coming through the final corner now, Jason. This is going to be his timed lap going up on the boards. And across the line he will go before he doesn't set a lap, but that will give you a good idea of the times there. We're on board with Ben in the Ferrari as he comes through Sector 2. A nice on-board shot there as we run through the slow section here. And sweeps into the new section, the new chicane here. It goes a little bit deep, but he should get away with that. Front wing camera here as we run through the final corner. He gets a sense of the speed these guys are going at. That is Wild Ditto coming across the line in the background as well, and he goes quickest again with a 1:19.3, absolutely annihilating the times right now. So your current lineup is Wild Ditto P1, Foxy's P2, and Nezran P3, 2 Saubers 2 and 3, Washi P4, ZDQ P5, in the Renault Denzama P6, Ben P7, Boniface P8 coming back in, Seika P9, and Noodle in currently 10th, and he'll pop up a little bit to P9. Jason just yet to set a lap, he's currently going to set one. And Kelly Davis not out on track at this point in time. Let's watch. All these guys seem to be starting on these soft tyres, the softest compound available, soft, medium and hards. Jason goes P10 with that lap. We have 3 compounds of tyres, yeah, as I said, soft, medium and hards. And well, since this is a half distance race, I think the one stop is probably possible. A stint on the softs followed by a stint on the hards, but you could do a 2 stop soft and medium. Or maybe start on the mediums and then go to... So, well, I think everyone could go for a 1 stop here. We'll see how it goes. People heading back into the pit lane now. Nezran on an out lap. David Ben, where is he on track? He's currently, I'd say he's on an in lap. Coming into the pit lane. As you hear the tyres squealing in protest as he begins to lock up there and heads into the pit lane. So we have a couple of drivers coming back out on track. Nezran back out on track. And then Washi also back out on track as well. So we will wait for Nezran to make his way around, and we will get an onboard lap on board the Sauber as he heads through this section here. So we can get a nice sense of driver's eye view of this lap around Catalunya. So here we go then, Nezran coming through the final corner. Let's ride on board as he goes for a lap around the circuit to Catalunya here in Spain. So DRS zone begins here. He'll pop that DRS open. There is the wing flap opening. And he heads down towards turn number 1, 8th gear. We'll get the telemetry up so you can have a look at that as well. 200 miles an hour as he gets on the brakes. Rolls it through turn number 1 very nicely. A little bit wide, but he'll get away with that through turn number 1. Then we head into the long right-hander. You can give it a slight lift, but he's not lifting at all. Flat out through turn number 3 there, and then down to turn 4. Oh, hard on the brakes, and then roll it through. Hard on the power then. Very easy to spin out through that corner. Looking for your braking point. It's going to be about here. And then he heads through this hairpin here. We've got a yellow in sector 3. That seems to have cleared very quickly. Before we head up to the next part of the track. This is the off-camber S's. Gets the car turned in very nicely. It's going to be a very quick lap indeed from Nezran. And he heads through. The long right-hander doesn't lift. Right out to the edge of the track. Brilliant stuff from the Sauber driver. Hard on the brakes then. Down into second gear. Big lock-up. But gets the car turned in very nicely. Good front end on this Sauber. And then this is the tough part of the track. Got to wait for the car to come back to you before you get on the power. On the way out. Down a gear into the chicane here. Down to second gear. He'll leave it in third for me. Actually good exit from him there. And through the final corner. And gets the DRS open for one last time. And towards the line he will come and goes P2. 10th of a second off of Wild Ditto. That's an excellent lap from him. Very quick indeed. Exactly 0.101 away. So, what does Wild Ditto have in response to that? Can he go even quicker? Or can somebody else step up to the mark? Let's watch the other Sauber as Foxy's goes to set a lap. Let's see how what he does. Can he improve on what he did? Flying past the camera set in the curb there. And he will come across the line, which is just here. Well, that wasn't an improvement. It doesn't look like. It's usually the first lap that is the best for people. Who else is setting a lap as Washi is pulling off to the side to get out of the way. It's unusual to take to the grass. It really compromises it, so he'll have to back out of that lap if he was on one. So is Nezran going to improve? Or will Wild Ditto improve? There he is, coming through Sector 1. Looking very, very nicely indeed. Sector 2, we've got a yellow flag. It's been cleared very quickly. Boniface comes back in. And David Ben will come across the line. And he will not improve on that lap. Sector 1, we've got a yellow flag. So what has happened? In Sector 1, doesn't look like anybody has had a mishap. Looks like people are just getting out of the way of people. Wild Ditto, is he currently in Sector 3 at this point in time? Nezran's in the pit lane. He's not going to have enough time, so he's given up on trying to set a lap. And that's Nezran, who's retired, of course. Now Foxy's trying to use the slipstream off Washi here to see if he can improve his lap time. Washi bounces into the pit lane, hits the wall on the way in. And here we go, Foxy's, can he improve it all, or will he have another crack at it? He's going to have another crack at it. Anybody else improving anywhere along the track? We've got a couple of people on laps. Wild Ditto did not improve on that lap, so he'll have another crack at it, but right now he's looking secure. Nezran with a good lap. Foxy's has backed out of his laps. That's going to be it for him. So I don't think anybody else is going to be able to get Wild Ditto. So that, I believe, once again, Wild Ditto will take another pole position, a 5th pole position in a row here in Catalonia. Stellar record so far. Qualifying master, you could call him. Foxy's has definitely backed out of his, and he's not going to have enough time to get across the line to start another one. ZEQ, he has come across the line, and he's going to have enough time to do another one. Denzamo, can he improve at all? Washi's going to have to settle for P4. The top 3 are the only guys who managed to get into the 119s. Let's watch Denzamo if he's going to improve at all. Kalidemus has not come out on the track, and this is the second time I've seen him not come out to take part in qualifying. Here comes Denzamo, the lobby host, ever reliable. Comes across the line and goes to 5th position after that lap, and he just came across the line as the checkered flag came out, so you can have another go if he wants, but Wild Ditto is your pole sitter today, unless somebody else can spring something absolutely insane at the last minute. ZEQ, what can he do? Can he improve? Can he get himself into 5th? Needs about 0.2 of a second. Let's watch the Renault. Only one Renault car today, of course. One driver missing. And that's FIFA, who's had a pretty diabolical season so far. Comes across the line, can't improve. And of course we have the old glitch, as we have Ben popping up to P5 after that lap. That's good from him in the Ferrari. Anybody else? Noodle might be able to improve, IEJ, maybe, perhaps. Apart from that, it is Wild Ditto for the 5th time again this season, taking pole position. But Nezran is alongside him on the front row once again, and we know what he's like off the line. We saw that in Russia, so keep an eye on the Sauber. So Noodle was not able to, IJ was not able to improve, only 1/10 of a second off, but that is it for qualifying here in Spain. We'll get confirmation of those results. So there you are, Wild Ditto by 1/10 of a second, so not much this time. Takes pole position from Nezran. Foxy's alongside him. Foxy's will start on row 2, Washi P4, David Ben P5, Denzamo P6, ZEQ P7, Noodle P8, Boniface P9, Sega P10, IEJ P11, Jason P12, and Kalidemus P13 with no time. Second time this season he starts last. So, yeah, indeed, hello to everyone who is watching the stream. I hope you are enjoying it. And I hope we get a fantastic race here in Spain. Just ignore the copyright issues there. Of course, no formation lap in AOR because it's still not fixed. So until it is fixed, we will begin the race as soon as everybody has loaded in and got their strategies sorted out. Looking forward to this one indeed. Nezran alongside Wild Ditto on the front row. Let's see what happens into turn number 1. Maybe we could see some big movers. Keep an eye out for Washi off the line as well. Keep an eye out for everybody in that top 5 off the line. And let's hope we don't see another start line incident that we have in the past couple of races. So, with 5 seconds left before the race starts, all I can say is grab your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to go racing in Catalonia. And we go to 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. Lights out, and away we go. It's a good start from Wilder. Even better one from Nezran though, so watch him as he comes towards turn number 1. Watch him on the inside. Good start from Washi as well. He's alongside, and look at David Ben going in the middle between Washi and Foxy's. Is there going to be contact made? Washi's up to P3. Watch Washi trying to go around the outside, and he's gone off, and he's around. He's around in the middle of the pack. That's Washi gone around in the middle of the pack. That's then down to the back. That's a disaster for the championship leader. He's managed to spin the car around, got going again, but it is Wild Ditto who leads, followed by Nezran, followed by David Ben. Fantastic start from him. Then we have Denzamo and Foxy's down to P5 now. Noodle P6, Seika P7, Boniface P8, Jason P9, Caddy Damus P10. But down the back now is Washi after a disastrous first corner. Dream start for Wild Ditto though, got the getaway. Denzamo up to P3. There's been a problem, because I think David Ben has had a problem, or is one of the... Yeah, it's been Jason has had a problem indeed. Spun the car. So excuse me, I did mix up people there, but now Denzama up to P3, managed to get past the Ferrari. And now, look at Noodle as well, P5 off the line. Fantastic for the McLaren. But now he's got Foxy's bearing down on him. Seika, an excellent getaway from him. He's P7 now. So we'll keep an eye on all these gaps. As we end lap 1, Wild Ditto leads the pack once again. Nezran P2, Denzamo from P6 on the grid. Let's get up the detail so you can see who has been the big movers. Caddy Dems up 4 positions after that start. So let us keep an eye on what's going on as we have a slow, as Foxy's goes around the outside through turn number 1. Seika looking, he's touched, they've touched, and they're both off. They managed to keep that somehow together, but Seika tried to get a move up the inside. Noodle absolutely shut the door there. But excellent move from Foxy's around the outside through turn number 1. And he's now back up to P5. He was P3, so he's dropped a couple of positions. But Wild Ditto now has a gap of 1.1. 1.2 over Nezran, and Nezran has a gap of 1.1 over Denzamo in the Toro Rosso. So everybody's pretty close together at this point in time. So we have 2 people in the pit lane. Of course, championship leader Washi down the back now after his accident. ZEQ involved in that as well. There's IEJ running in P10. Seika now P9 after his contact with Noodle. Caddy Dame is up from last to P7. Boniface P6, a great start from him. Foxy's now P5, chasing down the Ferrari of David Ben. David Ben behind the Toro Rosso of Denzamo, and Nezran beginning to slightly close up on Wild Ditto as we go to DRS enabled for this lap. So what a chaotic start, not what we expected at all. Let's see what Nezran can do. He'll have a slipstream down towards turn number 1, but the DRS will not be enabled for him this time around. Just watch these Saubers, they're very punchy, especially watching Foxy's as he tries to get past the Ferrari. Of course, the Sauber's running last year's Ferrari engine, and look at this, they seem to have more pace than the Ferraris, the Works team. But we'll keep an eye on that. Nezran is definitely sticking with Wild Ditto at this point in time as they try to burn off the fuel load and try to gain that gap. But Wild Ditto is not making that gap just yet. He's keeping a gap of about 0.8 of a second. It's just flitting in between it. 1 second and 0.8 of a second, so he'll just be outside of DRS range, although the DRS detection point is there, and he was within a second right there. So let's watch if the DRS flap comes open. Yes, it does, but this straight is definitely too short for that to have any effect on what's going on. Big lockup on the inside left for Nezran there, but he'll definitely have a second bite of the cherry down towards turn number 1. Let's watch as they roll through. We've had to change position. Seika has managed. Oh, there's been a big crash. Seika is off the track, and they've made contact once again. Noodle involved in the McLaren. Is there damage? That's a big impact. Seika, retirement in the Haas. That's a real shame. So they've come to blows once again. Nezran, he's definitely outside. He's lost about half a second there. Something's happened there. Fastest lap, Wild Ditto. That's what he needed. So let's keep an eye on Foxy's as he tries to gain time on David Ben. Not going to happen. So, 1 retirement, Seika. So, Caddy Damus now P7 from starting last. And, of course, this moves up these two guys up a position. So, Washi needs to find a way to get further up the grid, because this could have an adverse effect on the championship If Wild Ditto wins this race and he doesn't score, surely that would mean he would take over the lead of the championship at this point in time. Let's watch Boniface looking threatening on the back of Foxy's here. Foxy's lost a bit of time to David Ben there, so could the McLaren pose a threat? As we run down towards Sector 2, he's got the DRS up and Sauber's going a bit defensive as we go with Boniface trying to launch down the inside of the Sauber. Can he get it done? No. He gets the door shut firmly in his face, but he's run a bit wide. He's still on the inside. He gives him the space. He'd have to run over the curb and back out of that one. But the McLaren's looking really good in this early stint as he runs a bit wide there. He's maybe trying to launch at the inside there. No, not quite. Let's watch as they come down towards turn 1. Surely there's going to be a move lined up on the cards as he goes a bit deep, but a bad exit from Foxy that looked like there, and he comes into the pit line. Looks like wing damage, and it is wing damage for Foxy. That is why he couldn't put up that fight. Now, Nezran's still a 1.2 behind Wild Ditto. Denzamo dropping back, so these guys now are starting to get some clean air across the wings. So let's watch Foxy's in the pit lane as he gets a set of hard tyres onto the car. And that would mean he would be going to the end of the race. We would have to assume, as Washi tries to gain some positions back. Whereas Foxy's come down on the track is well clear of these guys. Washi needs to find a way past ZEQ. ZEQ sets the fastest lap of the race down the back. Of course, clean air, but a good sign from the Renault. So, Nezran's still keeping Wild Ditto honest at this point in time. So he's not able to build that gap. 100% pole record for Wild Ditto, and we've had a yellow in Sector 2 as Foxy's has left the session. And is he out of the race? It's been a disconnection for sure. Let's see if he can get back in. Let's get back up to the front and keep an eye on this little ding-dong battle between the Sauber and the Williams. Pretty much even on pace at this point. So that is a real shame. Foxy's disconnected. Can he get back? If possible. But Seika the only retirement at this point, as he has had a crash with the Noodle. Well, I didn't quite catch the action as to what happened. Yellow in Sector 3. What is that for? We're not quite sure. Let's see if we can... Washi seems to be struggling in the dirty air of the Renault up ahead, right on board with him. ZEQ absolutely flying right now. And it looks like that yellow may have been caused by Noodle, I'm not quite sure. But we'll get back up to the front and get a little onboard view with Nezran as he chases down. He's lost a bit of time to the Williams. He's trying very hard indeed to keep with the Williams, but it's pretty much even on lap time. He was a little bit slower than Wild Ditto that previous lap around. Sector 2, we've got a yellow flag. What is that for? It is Noodle who has spun the car in Sector 2, and that drops him down to the back of the grid. So, lost the back end, and now Foxy's is going to lose positions to Washi and ZEQ. This will put Washi back into the points. It's exactly what he needs. Jason running around P8, IEJ P7, Caddy Davis P6 on the medium tyre. Boniface P5 as Washi gets past Foxy's there, as we assumed. And Nezran has reeled in Wild Ditto a little bit. DRS detection is there. I think he will have DRS, but it's just too short a section for it to have any effect whatsoever. Shifting down very quickly indeed. Gearbox won't like that at all. Wheel spin. He's trying so hard, pushing this car to the limit to try and catch up to Wild Ditto or just keep within DRS range of the Williams. He needs a good exit here to have any chance. Lit up the tyres a little bit there. I think he will have DRS, but he lost a little chunk of time and it's not going to have the big effect He'll gain a good bit of time down the straight. He'll gain a lot of time down the straight, actually. Gained about 0.2 of a second down the straight, within 0.7 of a second of the Williams now. But he needs to keep within that. As we've had to switch as David Ben comes into the pit lane for a set of hard compound tyres. So, as we said, the one stop looking like the main strategy here. Caddy Damas is running P5, starting last. Didn't qualify. And is now up into the top 5, which is fantastic news. Nezron still keeping him honest, keeping this gap at around 1 second. Will he have DRS? I don't think he will. He's just outside the 1 second mark, and it doesn't look like he has it. Nope. As Washi has managed to get past ZEQ down the straight. DRS in effect. Can ZEQ come back, perhaps? On the way into turn 1, no. Washi looks like he's got that moved on very easily indeed. DRS and David Ben gets past IEJ for 6th position. David Ben just made his pit stop. So now Foxy's has dropped to the back after all of that. So now we know ZEQ is quick, but it looks like Washi has been keeping that gap. He's closed that gap back up and is now up to P9, but he's 18 seconds drift of Jason, who's now right behind IEJ. So let's keep an eye on this little battle as he goes a bit deep, almost spins the car. And for some reason, Foxy's has got back past Noodle, and it looks like he's having trouble getting past the AI, which is quite something now. ZEQ is not done with Washi. He's keeping within that 1 second margin here, so let's keep an eye. Because ZEQ will have DRS down the main straight. The DRS detection is somewhere along here. So keep an eye. Because we know this. Renault is very quick in a straight line. Noodle has got back past Foxy's once again. So let's watch ZEQ. I don't think he... Will he have it or will he not? No, he does not. So Washi is well clear of the Renault there. But Jason is now starting to put the pressure on IEJ for 7th position. Red Bull on Force India action here. Hard tyre versus soft tyre. And the hard tyre does look a lot like the super soft, but it's a slightly different tinge to red. It's a more orange type colour. As Wild Ditto has come into the pits, and he's got a 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh dear, 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 that's not what he wanted. That's a disaster. He's going to have to take that at another pit stop. He can't take it here, which means he has to have another one. And that is a real shame. It's just a misjudgment from the Williams driver there, and he's going to have to push like an absolute animal to have any chance now. And as he's going to be side by side with Boniface, who comes down out of the pit lane. Boniface now P3 after those pit stops. He's going to have to make one again, but now Nezron has a real shot at a victory here if he can stay a reasonable distance ahead, where will have to make another pit stop. He'll have to come in to serve a 5-second stop-go penalty. That is not what he wanted. An absolute misjudgment from the Williams driver. And a real shame. And Marcus Lynn said Foxy's disconnected as Wild Ditto has got past. Boniface I was checking the chat there. So Boniface looks like he had a bit of an off because it looked like a bit too easy for Wild Ditto. Let's watch if Nezron responds. Yes, he does. So let's see if the undercut works for Wild Ditto. He needs it to work. It has to work. He's coming through Sector 2 now. It's going to be very tight. It's 18 seconds the gap. Denzamo in as well, so this might put Wild Ditto back. And ZEQ gets back past Washi again. So there's a real ding-dong battle going on there. Wild Ditto coming around the final corner. Where is Nezron? Just pulling into his pit box. He's not going to have the lead. Wild Ditto will take that position back. Nezron's on his way out, but Wild Ditto is already ahead. And the undercut has worked a treat there. But can he get out in front of Boniface? No, Boniface doing an excellent job. He's going to have to make a pit stop, but he's running in P2 now. Caddy Damas now up to P4 on an alternate strategy. David Benton up to P5 as Denzamo makes his way out back to P6 where he started. So now, Nezron now has to get past a McLaren. Wild Ditto needs to build a gap. He needs to build a humongous gap for this to work. He will need to come in again for his 5-second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So Nezran has a real shot at a victory here in Spain for his first victory of the season as he tries to find a way past the McLaren. He's ever so close. He'll have DRS down this bit of track here, and this should be an easy move, perhaps a move on the brakes. Boniface doesn't have to give the position up, and I would encourage him to fight it. Both bounce over the curbs. So surely it would be an easy move down the straight. Let's keep an eye on what goes on as Washi now begins to build a little bit of time on ZEQ. Wilder goes fastest on the medium. Let's watch this battle for second place as the DRS pops open on the Sauber. Let's see if he can get that move done. Down into turn number 1. Boniface is going defensive down towards turn number 1, and it doesn't look like he's got the speed in that Sauber. So let's keep an eye on this little battle. It's getting interesting. As he looks to the inside, Boniface takes an alternate line through the long right-hander, and a move is surely on the cards, but Nezran can't afford to get stuck behind the McLaren. And he gets a great exit out of the turn number 4 there, and he comes to the outside, gets the move done. Boniface backs out of it and lets him through, and now Nezran can get on the back and go for a chase. Meanwhile, for P10, here comes Washi for P9 on ZEQ. Can he get it done? No, not enough. And David Ben gets past the Williams as the Williams has had an excursion off the track, and David Ben goes back to P4. So it's a good race from the Ferrari here today. Let's keep an eye on this little tasty battle, Washi versus ZEQ, for the tail end of the points. Interesting little battle this then. Yeah, that's actually a fair point made by McQuiz. He won't have to stop again. He will get 5 seconds added to his race time. So at the moment he's doing enough to stay ahead of Nezran, but only just. That is actually a fair point. I did forget about that rule, that you can actually get it added to your race time if he doesn't make another pit stop. But it did specify a stop go, so I'm not sure, because you'd have to assume that a time penalty can be added to your race time. I'm not sure about stop goes, because it's very specific. Caddy Dame is now into the pit lane for his first stop. Jason in for his stop. So we'll have to keep an eye on this battle. Fair enough. So right now this is getting interesting because Nezran is 5.2 behind Wild Ditto. And if it were to finish this way, Wild Ditto will win the race by 0.2 of a second. So Nezran needs to get within that 5-second bracket. If he does, then he is almost certainly guaranteed a race win. He'll have been told that by his engineer. As Foxy's gets lapped. He laps his teammate. And he gets DRS off his teammate as well. But Wild Ditto setting fastest lap, setting the board purple. And Nezran is just edging closer. He's within that 5-second bracket now. All he needs to do really is stay there and just match Wild Ditto for pace, and he will have victory here in Spain. But there is still quite a ways to go here. We are approaching the halfway mark of this fascinating Grand Prix as Washi and ZEQ head to the pit lane. Who is going to be victorious here in Spain, but also in this little battle? Who's going to be victorious in the pit lane? Let's watch the Renault crew and the Toro Rosso crew go to work. This might work out for Washi if the pit lane boys get to work and do their job correctly. Gets on his way out. ZEQ does he get out? Yes. That puts Jason up to P8. So Washi frustratingly still left behind ZEQ. This has not been the race he's wanted after that crash on lap 1. Goes onto the hard tyre. ZEQ goes onto the medium tyre. And Noodle is just having a horrible Grand Prix right now. He's had another off And while Ditto still setting fastest lap, but he's only just sitting in that 5-second bracket. He's gonna... Right now, Nezran is your race leader, technically, if you take that 5-second penalty into account. So the field's a little bit more spread out, but the closest battle we have at this point in time is Washi and ZEQ. There's going to be hard tyre versus medium tyre. And DRS on Washi's car will get him a little bit closer to the Renault up ahead, both running the same engines. Of course, it is the works manufacturer versus the customer. And of course, Toro Rosso getting Honda engines, it looks like, next year. So as he gets to get the back end, gets all twitchy as Wild Ditto edges a gap out to 5.1. Let's watch as Washi attempts to get past the Renault. We've had a yellow flag in Sector 2. Who is that for? That is for Noodle going sideways as Washi gains a little bit more time. ZEQ a bit wide through there. It's going to compromise him through this long turn 3. Just a little bit, just a little tap on the artificial grass for Washi there. Means he's right on the limit as Wild Ditto edges out a gap. Begins to edge out a gap is exactly what he needs. We are now at the halfway point in this Grand Prix. And Boniface and David Ben are into the pit lane. Boniface was having a fantastic Grand Prix so far. Denzamo goes back to P3. On go the mediums for the McLaren. And away he goes. He's going to have a great result for the McLaren team here today, is Boniface. IEJ is going to be behind these guys. So Boniface remains in P4. This is fantastic for the McLaren team. His other teammate is running down in P12. And he is up here. The Sector 1, and Noodle is out of the... I almost said Chinese Grand Prix. It's the Spanish Grand Prix, losing the back end in turn 2. And that is a very, very broken McLaren. World's fastest gamer, not anymore. So, speaking of the world's fastest gamer, that's happening right now, I believe. The finals for that are happening right now. So, great advertisement, I suppose, to have a McLaren in the wall. Let's hope that doesn't happen in the finals, as ZEQ has actually gained time on the Red Bull of Jason. So we now have a little three-way battle going on for P8, as the exchange of lap times continues up front. Just to give you a little bit of telemetry, just so you can, well, you can see what's going on. Position changes. First and second as they were. Denzamo up 3 positions, and Boniface up 5. As ZEQ has gained a huge amount of time there on the Red Bull, and everybody apart from David Ben has made the one stop. I think it was for damage. ZEQ looking very, very punchy in that Renault, going slightly wide, but that should give him a good slingshot on the way out. On the Red Bull, also running the Renault branded Tag Heuer engines, because Red Bull have had a little dispute with Renault. But we have 3 Renault powered cars, 3 different manufacturers, 3 of the same engine manufacturers going at it for the last 3 points paying positions. And I can't see how Jason is going to hold on versus ZEQ here, who's looking very, very quick in this Renault Works car. We're now on lap 18 of 33. As ZEQ gets ever closer to Jason. Now going to have the effect of dirty air. Jason goes slightly wide, and that's going to help ZEQ. It's also helping Washi, because ZEQ is getting a little bit held up here by the Red Bull. But they will have DRS down this little bit of straight. As the DRS pops open on the Renault car. Will he try a lunge down the inside? No, he won't. Yes, he will. Perhaps down the inside, has a look. But it doesn't work out. And now Washi gets himself on the back, and he's twitching around there. Back end. Not agreeing with what he's doing. But I think this is a lost cause for Jason to try and hold on, because he's going to have two very, very quick drivers bearing down on him down towards turn number 1. Bad exit from ZEQ though, so this could help Washi. Let's watch him. He'll have the benefit of a double toe here down towards turn 1. Let's see if any moves are made. Jason good in a straight line, looks like. But ZEQ can't find a way past. So Jason doing a good job to hold on versus these guys right now. The American in the Red Bull. ZEQ, a great run through the long right-hander. Will he try one down the inside into turn 4? No. But Washi is looking, but gets a good exit on the way out of turn 4. And he's on the outside. Jason gets on the grass. Down towards turn 5. Around the outside goes the Renault. Lovely move. Gets that move done. Jason tries to find a way to see if he can get a cutback, but no, it's a lovely move into turn 5 for the Renault. And now Washi has to find a way past. Number 36. Red Bull versus Toro Rosso. This is going to be interesting. He's alongside already into the long right-hander, slips it up the inside. Very, very audacious. And gets that move done and gets DRS for his troubles. But can Jason come back? No, he can't. So Jason drops to P10, but he's in a pretty secure P10 because Foxy's is already a lap down. But nice little battle between those three guys there. Meanwhile, Caddy Damus doing a good job in P7. It has closed up on the Force India of IEJ. And up front, 6.3 the gap. So Nezran needs to pick up the pace, but Wild Ditto is setting fastest laps across the board. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to. But Wild Ditto is pretty much back to form now, as he's on his way to his second victory. His potential second victory if he has to make that stop go. But he could have it added to his race time. If so, then he is doing enough. But let's watch Caddy Dames. He attempts to catch up to the car of IEJ in the Force India. Caddy Dames had a poor run in Russia, but he's doing a great job. Started last on the grid and is up to P7. So up 6 positions and could be up another one. 2 Mercedes engine cars fighting it out. We've got a yellow in sector 3. What is that for? We're not quite sure. Is it a spin up front? It is David Ben who has spun the car in sector 3, and IEJ and Caddy Dames are bearing down on him now. So that's not what he wanted. So a rare mistake. He's heading into the pits, it looks like, for his third stop today. It's wing damage. It is wing damage. But look at Caddy Damus. Now he has to go for P5, a top 5-second stop go for David Ben. So it's a fallen, another victim. But here comes Caddy Damus. Can he try it? No. Has to back out of it as IEJ gets hard on the brakes. And now Jason gets moved up to P9 as David Ben has to make another stop for a front wing. These AI cars, these AI ghosts proving a little bit hard to get past, as Nezran has come into the pits for another stop. Now this is interesting, so that perhaps the medium's not going the distance. Now this is going to be a soft tyres for sure on Nezran's car. Yes, it is. So does Wild Ditto respond? He might have to. So this is going to be interesting. Wild Ditto doesn't have to push like hell on this lap if he's going to come into to the pits. Nezran comes out in front of Denzamo, so he's put on the soft tyres. Interesting strategy then, as Caddy Damus is still behind the Force India, and coming up very quickly behind them is ZEQ and Washi. So this is getting interesting in the closing moments of this Grand Prix. IEJ comes in across the nose, Caddy Damus up to P5 he goes. And here comes ZEQ and Washi. So this could be interesting. Where is Wild Ditto? He's coming through the last sector. Does he come in? Yes, he does. Now he's going to have to serve a 5-second penalty. So the stop go, although will they service his car, or will he have to serve a stop go? The team will have to wait for 5 seconds before they service the car. If so, let's watch. Yes, they have to wait for 5 seconds. Where is Nezran? The team go to work. Soft tyres. And away he goes. Where is Nezran on track? This is going to be tight. Nezran comes through the final corner down towards turn 1. Where is Wild Ditto? About to leave the pit lane. He's come out. Nezran is not going to have it. Wild Ditto down towards turn number 1. Will he have it? Yes. Yes, he does. So they've managed to play that absolutely perfectly. But Nezran is not going to be done with Wild Ditto. Let's watch. This is going to be a titanic battle for the lead of the Grand Prix in the dying couple of laps here in Spain. This has been a masterclass of strategy. Wild Ditto pulled out just enough to get in front of Nezran, and now he can attempt to pull a gap on the Sauber driver. Fantastic. And we've had to change. ZDQ gets in front of Caddy Dames down the straight. We'll keep an eye on this little battle down towards turn number 1. Let's watch Washi. Is he going to get a position off of this guy here? No, he can't, so he's going to have to stay behind. But my goodness me, Nezran! Can he do it? No! He can't. He's trying to get past the Williams. This is fantastic racing. Strategies playing up against each other. Wild Ditto, even with the 5-second penalty, manages to stay in front. Washi gets in front of Caddy Dames as he goes off the track into the gravel trap. And Nezran has had a very poor run through the last sector, and he's lost a second, but absolutely fantastic from Wild Ditto. Just enough. So then, my heart is pounding in my chest after all that fantastic few corners there. But now ZEQ and Washi have had a great race together. They're now in P5 and 6 respectively, but you have to say Boniface has done a fantastic job today. He's P4. He's had a terrible couple of runs in the past couple of races, but has done a fantastic job. Barely any practice, and is up in P4. We have 10 laps remaining of the Spanish Grand Prix. That is one of the highlights of the season, with Wild Ditto just about staying in front of Wild Ditto. If he was half a second slower in that pit stop, it wouldn't have been enough. So Caddy Dames comes in, and there is a yellow in sector 3 that must have been for Caddy Dames on his way in. And Foxy's is in as well. So is there a problem? Yes, there is. Wing damage. Sector 1, we've had a yellow. ZEQ has spun the car. So that's a shame, and Washi now gets up to P5, ZEQ P6, and Jason's going to be on him. As they come towards turn number 4, this is going to be Jason trying to launch it on the inside of the Renault. Can he get it done? Down the inside for the Red Bull. No, he can't. He gets the door firmly shut in his face, but he's still there. Jason fighting back. The American versus the Renault. Can he get it done? It doesn't look like it. So, he had his opportunity, but it's not over yet. He's right on board with the Red Bull as he tries to get it past the works machine. And it doesn't look like it'll have DRS. But it looks like ZEQ is going to stay in P6, but he's lost 9 seconds because of that spin. Washi, I think he's going to have to settle for P5 unless there's a problem. He's 26 seconds behind Boniface in P4. Nezran 2.8 behind. He tried hard. He tried ever so hard with his strategy. It almost paid off, but it just wasn't enough. Fantastic try though. Now Jason still within a couple of tenths of the Renault, so he's not giving up on getting 6th position from ZEQ here. But does he have enough in the tank? So Caddy Dames will stay in P10, but it's a real shame. He was running in P5, had that spin, and is now down in P10, but still in a points paying position. So we have about 8 laps to go. It has been a fantastic race today in Spain. A battle for the lead in the dying moments. Could still happen yet, but Wild Ditto timed it to absolute perfection to stay in front of Nezran, even with his 5-second stop go. But he still has to bring that Williams home. He can't afford any mistakes, and Caddy Dames is back in again. Has there been another problem? There has. So it has been both a high and low day for Williams. as they have to fix a nose onto the Williams. The fastest plastic surgery happens in Formula 1. If you want a nose job, come to Formula 1 engineer. They'll sort you out in about 7 seconds. Denzamo's going to have done a great job here. He started in P6, I believe, and he's now heading for a podium versus his teammate who's P5. So an excellent drive. Toro Rosso, more points on the board. But I think Wild Ditto will take over the lead of the championship. If I am mistaken, do correct me. But this is exactly what he needed. And we are now 5 rounds in to the 20 round championship. So we have a real championship battle on our hands. It was all washy in the first couple of rounds, but it's now twisting in Williams' direction. So Wilder is coming up to the car of IEJ to lap him. He's P9 at the moment. There he is. Has done a good job. He's on his way to score even more points for the Force India team. David Ben was up in P3 in the early part of the race. Qualified P4. Running a very similar helmet to Kimi Raikkonen's. A very nice helmet, actually. If we can have a look on board. Look very similar to Kimi Raikkonen's. But it is still going to be a point scoring day for Ferrari, but had a bit of a spin and it could have been a lot higher for him. Jason, a very good race from him today, put it up to ZEQ. He's now P7, the American driver in the Red Bull there. ZEQ was also a victim of that turn 1 incident, but managed to recover very well. He's P6 now. Washi, as you know, was also involved in that turn 1 incident. It was probably the I can't even say the word. The catalyst for the catalyst. There you go. Words for that accident. Got on the gravel, spun in front of multiple people, but has managed to recover very well to score more points for Toro Rosso. He's P5. Sector 2, we've got a yellow flag. Who is that for? That looks like for ZEQ. Again, has spun the car. Careful not to damage the wing. That is in Sector 2 in the S section. He's going to lose a position to IEJ if he's not careful. He's getting lapped at the same time, so he's lost another position to mistakes. And has he got wing damage? I don't think he has, so he's lucky to get away with that. There is the car of Nezran coming up to lap him as well. Boniface has probably been the star of the day, in my opinion. He has had a poor couple of runs in the past couple of races, but he's now pulled it back and is going to score his highest points, or he's going to score a great finish for McLaren, his highest finish of the season, it looks like. Denzamo, once again, we mentioned him, started P6, now up to P3. So he's really been having a quiet one in P3, but is on his way to a podium. Nezran, once again, is on his way to another second place finish. Led the race in Russia, couldn't hold on. Almost took the lead on lap 26, I think it was, or around that area. Almost ever so close, took the lead, tried to move, couldn't make it work, and is on his way to another second place finish, but is going to move himself up in the championship as a result. Wild Ditto, what can you say? Another pole position, is 5th in a row, and has pretty much led every single lap. And even with his penalty, has managed to stay in front. Sector 2, we've got a yellow flag. Is that ZEQ? Again, no, it's IEJ. So a rare mistake from IEJ puts him in the wall, and that's going to be wing damage for him. He's going to have to come into the pit lane. A lot of damage on the front wing. As I was saying, what can you say? 5 poles in a row, and has led every single lap, even with his 5-second penalty. Just about came out in front of Nezran and is setting blisteringly fast laps, and is 6.6 ahead of the man in second. We've had 2 retirements from this Grand Prix. Well, 3 if you count Foxy's. He's disconnected and is still running around in P11. Noodle lost the back end in turn 2 and ended up in the wall. And Seika was actually involved in an incident with Noodle earlier in the race that ended with him having a hard impact in the wall as well. So then, Wild Ditto laps his teammate who's running in P10. This is going to be a haul of 26 points for Williams today, it looks like. As IEJ heads into the pit lane, let's keep an eye, just watch the plastic surgeons go to work. He'll put on the soft tyres if he's got some. He has indeed got some soft tyres on and a new nose. And ZEQ gets a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. The first we've seen, in fairness. I thought we'd get a corner cut penalty free session. Almost. Close but no cigar. Meanwhile, we've got a little bit of a heated one going on here as David Ben begins or tries to close down the Red Bull. Let's keep an eye on that one. Wild Ditto begins lap 30 of 33 and will come almost to his second victory in a row, back-to-back wins, and sets his place at the top of the driver's standings as far as I know. I could be completely wrong. I will have to check that and I will correct myself next week if I am wrong. So yes, we do indeed have a battle on our hands here. Red Bull on Ferrari action. David Ben has definitely caught a substantial amount of time. Pulled a substantial chunk of time out of Jason, right on board with him. As he, oh my goodness me, so late on the brakes, almost hit the back of the Red Bull, came so close. There is Wild Ditto about to lap them. David Ben will have to get out of the way for him, but he can use Wild Ditto to his advantage now and use him to pull him along down the straight. He's opening the door slightly for him, and Wild Ditto will get DRS as a result. Actually, David Ben did not get DRS because of that. So, Wild Ditto makes his way through on lap 31 of 33. So not long left in this Grand Prix at all. Just coming on 9 o'clock local time. And we're almost at the end of this Grand Prix. And you can see now David Ben just trying to use the slipstream of the Williams. So let's watch on board with the Ferrari driver. They'll be struggling for grip through that corner now. They can't take that flat anymore. So there's a few marker boards being destroyed there. Jason not letting Wild Ditto through at this point in time. And he's had to back off, and Jason goes wide and off. And David Ben picks up an easy position because of that off from Jason. So then that leaves the field pretty much spread out as far as you like. But it doesn't really matter, we've had some great scraps throughout this Grand Prix. 2 laps remain in this Spanish Grand Prix, round 5 of PS4 Formula 8 tier. I would have to assume some of these guys are going to be moving up the tiers next season, especially this man, Wild Ditto. He's just been dominant in qualifying all season long. 5 poles in a row, and is still not done. Some of these guys you'll definitely see in the other tiers next season, and I'll be excited to see where they end up. And if I still have a job next season, that'd be great. Hashtag keep Soup in a job. But anyways, it's been a fascinating season so far. Australia, of course, was McQuizz's day. He ended up taking the victory there. Wild Ditto, of course, took pole that day and actually ended up in the wall as far as I remember. Bahrain, I think I missed. I think I missed Bahrain. No, yeah, I missed Bahrain, but I didn't miss China. And that was, of course, Washi's first victory. We've had a problem in Sector 3. Who is that? Was that just a slow car? We're not sure, but of course, yeah, China was Washi's first victory. And, yeah, it was a fantastic day for him. Wild Ditto, of course, as we said, got pole. Bahrain missed it. Russia, of course, was Wild Ditto's first victory this season. And we're now in round 5. And he's on his way to back-to-back victories with his championship rival, Washi, in P5. Still done a good job to get back to P5 after his crash on lap 1. But it looks like it's going to be Williams' day again. Frank Williams is in the pit lane right now, looking at the screens, looking at his driver coming through Sector 3. The mechanics are making their way out to the pit lane. They're making their way out to the pit wall. They're getting themselves set to receive their driver to come across the line. So coming through the final sector, Williams, well done once again. You've had another one. Coming through the final corner, Wild Ditto wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Back-to-back victories for the Williams team. They're ecstatic as they come across the line. Fantastic for the Williams team. Just about got that victory. Almost lost it, but they have had it, and they have it in hand now. And fantastic victory. Nezran, fantastic once again. P2 for the Sauber team. Denzamo will pick up P3, and Boniface will pick up a fantastic P4 for the McLaren team. Washi, good race in P5, good recovery. David Ben P6, Jason P7, ZEQ P8, IEJ P9, and Caddy Damus will pick up the last point in P10. Foxy's is still running around in P11, but he of course disconnected. 2 DNFs, Noodle and Seika. So hopefully they can make a good recovery at the next Grand Prix. But what a race. What a victory for the Williams team. Wild Ditto back to back and 5 pole positions in a row. He's on his way to setting record books as Jason gives him an old bump up the hill. And 2 AIs become 1. And IEJ is the only person left to cross the line along with Foxy. There's going to be an accident involving the AI if they're not careful now. Just waiting for the final car to come across the line. There you have it. And that is going to be the Spanish Grand Prix. So there, we'll wait for the confirmation. Wait for the podium. And there he is. Wild Ditto standing on top of the podium for the second time this season. And with that, we'll round out the stream. Thank you all so much for watching. The day belongs to Wild Ditto. And we will see you all next time. Bye bye.